Hi, good evening. It's around 7:09 p.m. You are joining us at the Reservoir Hill Association General Membership Meeting. We are running a little bit behind tonight because we had some technical difficulties, but we're going to run straight into our general reports. The order of the meeting will be as it usually is. We're going to begin with our board reports, where members of our board can share information that they think you should know about the month past or the month coming. And then we're going to go into a presentation from the St. Francis Neighborhood Center, who is here to share with us information about their building plans and maybe more, hopefully more, maybe. And then we're going to go into a short discussion with Janae about the upcoming garden and home tour, or maybe she will be able to build it all into her report. We were also scheduled to have a report from the different projects concerned with Druid Park Lake Drive, but we had a couple of issues come up for two of the representatives. One was out of the office and the other is not feeling very well. So we probably will have to move that discussion to next month. But just giving you the heads up that maybe one person will join, but we heard from two of the three that were not able to this evening. So with that, we have more time for St. Francis because we had you on for a really short time. So feel free to extend the time that we allotted initially. And with that, we can go straight into our board reports. So I'll begin. This has been an extremely busy month. We, on April 30th, at the end of last month, if you don't already know, we were able to officially file our complaint against Amtrak regarding our civil rights concerns. And we, at the beginning of the month, had quite a bit of press coverage about that, which was, I think, honestly, the best way that we were able to get the word out to other neighbors that other people were feeling not so positive about their experience with the Amtrak. So I think, apart from being able to submit that complaint, which I think was an incredible success on its own, and congratulations to everyone that was a part of that. It took a lot of people and a lot of effort. And I'm so grateful for Carson Ward's advocacy, who is now the BMP Tunnel Chair, who allowed us to connect with the NYU Racial and Civil Rights Justice Clinic, which helped craft that complaint. And so from there, it's just going to be continued collaboration and work with other community members. It's really been an amazing way to connect, like I said, with a lot of people. I think until that moment, didn't realize that there were so many people that had so many concerns about it. Apart from that, we have been working very hard. Oh, Jarika's here. I'm surprised. We've been working very hard in planning for the garden home tour, which I'm sure you'll hear a lot about throughout the meeting. So I'm going to do my preliminary call for volunteers. We are looking for more folks to greet people, sign them in, give them their VIP passes, welcome people to the neighborhood. We also need help with setting up for the morning and breaking down in the evenings. And I know that other folks will be reaching out about other things, but I'm going to be selfish and just share the part that I've been tasked with, which is to manage the day of volunteers. So if you're interested in volunteering and you are able to give your time, I will put the volunteer request in the chat when I'm the next person goes so that I can toggle between the two. But I would really appreciate it. Last year, if you speak to anyone that volunteered for the day, it was a lot of fun. It seems like, okay, why would I give my Saturday and Sunday, like your weekend off, to do this? But I will say that most of it is just hanging out with neighbors and meeting other people that want to come to the neighborhood and everyone's in such a good mood because it's generally a beautiful day and it's a beautiful event. And adding to that day is we're going to have, well, other folks will speak about this, I'm sure, but we're going to also have a vendor fair, and we'll be having food trucks and things of that nature. So it's going to be a fun day. So even if you're not able to volunteer, really hope you buy a ticket and plan to attend. We're really excited. This is our big event. This is our big fundraiser. I think, yeah, I'll leave the rest for Janae because she'll be way more articulate about that. The final piece that I want to share with you all is that we are gearing up for our executing this neighborhood vision plan process over the next year. So from June of 2024 to June of 2025, we'll be working with the Neighborhood Design Center to establish a Baltimore City recognized community vision plan. And what that means is that we're really broadcasting to the city, to developers, to everyone around us, exactly what we hope the future of our neighborhood looks like. And right now we are crafting a invitation letter to steering committee members. We'll be reaching out to folks that we hope will work in partnership, not only for creating this vision, but to execute it long-term. So it's a really great moment to develop really long-term relationships with developers, with nonprofits, with anyone that is really going to help us see that vision through. So you'll be hearing more about that. We shared kind of our initial thinking around who could potentially serve on that steering committee. And I think in the next week or so, we'll be sending out letters once we get that form letter kind of approved by NDC to potential steering committee members that will hopefully join us on this year-long process and beyond. So I think those are the big things that I wanted to share about the last month, basically. And I'll pass it on to Jerika. Jerika? I was actually surprised to see Jerika here because she's at the polls. So
yes, I'm in Medfield, so in the rain all day since 7 o'clock, but it's okay. Do I have anything? Let me think, because I've been working these polls for the past couple weeks, so it's just been a good turnout. I'm up here in Medfield, and they've had 687 votes here, so it's been a very productive day up here for the 7th district. So I got one more hour left, and that's it. And I did volunteer to work on the garden and home tour, so that was awesome. That's gonna be awesome. So that's it for me.
thank you. And I will pass the mic to Lisa.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I'm still playing catch up with my duties as secretary, so bear with me. Keandra's been a ton of help, and I'm so appreciative. I promise to have it more together next month. Fingers crossed. And I don't know that I have anything to add. I've got to get the mailbox key to start picking up mail regularly. So that's something that's high on my list. Plus, I'm transcribing the notes of our meetings, keeping attendance, and the like. And I think that's it. We're hoping to have lots of volunteers for home and garden. I was a volunteer. It's a little off topic. I was a volunteer last year, and I had the best time ever. So for anyone who's contemplating, it's a great way to meet your neighbors, great way to build community, and it really is a fun time. So please consider seriously participating, volunteering, and joining. I think that's all I have.
Thank you so much. Okay, I don't see Chet in the room, so I'm going to skip forward and pass it on to Janae.
Hi, so everybody has already done a preamble for what I'm going to talk about. So, and many of you have emails in your inbox from me asking you to participate in various capacities for the Garden and Home Tour. So we've heard a little bit about the fun that we had as volunteers, but I just kind of want to give you a little flavor for some additions to this year. This year, we're going to have our food trucks. Taharka Brothers is going to join us again. We are also going to have something I'm super excited about as a non-green thumber. We will have a plant swap. So you'll hear more about that. Our Green Committee is facilitating that process. We're also going to have an Ask a Master Gardener for those people trying to keep the plants that they swap alive. We have lots of opportunities for folks to volunteer. So I'm going to drop a couple of links in the chat when I pass it on to someone else. But at any rate, it is not too late. You can be a tour stop. You can volunteer to do one of the cleanups that we're organizing in preparation of. You can clean your block. Or you know, you can, if you can nominate a neighbor to be on the tour. So lots of opportunities. We have a great variety of homes on the tour this year. Some new faces, some repeat, and we're super excited. So I'm going to pass it on. Hope to see you out. I'm sorry, one more thing that I'm super excited about is we have some of our local stakeholders, like the Western District is going to have a representative there, as well as DPW, some of the folks that we rely upon to make our neighborhood run smoothly. So it's going to be, you know, a really great event to meet and greet neighbors, as well as some of our folks that we work with, and keep things moving smoothly. So passing it on to the next person.
I just want to reiterate that this we have been passed this baton. This event has gone on for over 25 years. I always get the years wrong, but over 25 years in the neighborhood, and a lot of organizations have kind of served as hosts of it. And so we're really privileged to be able to take this on, but we also want, you know, to be clear that this is a fundraiser for our organization. And what it does for us is it really covers all of our operational costs for the year and for the year to come in the past. So what we were able to make in last year's event covered the cost for the entire event, but also raise additional money for the future operating costs. And as you know, RHA is all volunteer run. And in the years past, we, you know, the folks that used to volunteer with the organization would honestly use their own funds to make things like this happen. Like they would donate their money, or they would, you know, work with their companies to try to get, you know, donations that way. So I'm really proud that we're at this moment where we're no longer doing that. And why that matters, other than the fact that we shouldn't be using our own funds, but to be an equitable organization, we need it to run in a way that it won't cost someone to be a board member. It doesn't cost someone to be a member in general. So this is a really, really big deal for us to be able to sustain that. So we really appreciate folks joining, paying for their tickets, attending, volunteering for the day. And I also want to share that we're also looking for grant sponsorships and financial support from local grantors. So we are still fundraising in that way. So if you want to give larger donations, please reach out to Lisa Ward, who is spearheading the fundraising arm of the event. And I'm trying to see if our Green Committee chair is here. Not sure. Sorry, I'm not seeing all the screens because more people joined. Okay, no, okay. And then I'll move on to Daryl McLean, Marketing Chair.
Daryl may not be able to.
Okay.
I hear a lot of movement downstairs with the girls, but nonetheless, he's been doing a lot of promotion around the garden and home tour as
I'm
well.
here.
Oh, hi.
I'm here, but my phone will not show video for some reason. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. Um, Good evening, everybody. Marketing is just basically, been all in for the garden home tour. We have done countdown media, so you may have seen the T minus whatever days to go until the tour. We just finished the poster just going to go into stores in the neighborhood. We have sponsor spotlight messaging. We have banners, animated banners. We have profiles from individuals that have participated in the past. Multiple Eventbrite QR codes for tour participants, vendors, and volunteers. So we're just inundated with all things garden home tour. We were able to print a couple of T-shirts for individuals that went to Live Baltimore this past weekend. We have a final flyer that is about to be printed. I want to get a couple of eyeballs on it because I am sleep deprived, so I don't want to print out 750 flyers and it say that the event is July 1st and 2nd or something. So once we get some eyes on that final flyer, I will need volunteers. I will be reaching out for volunteers to pass out flyers. So if somebody can put my information in the chat, could you put my phone number in the chat? If you are able to pass out flyers, text message me. Let me know that you'll be able to do so. The newsletter for the month will come out on Friday, and of course, it will be heavily inundated with all things garden and home tour. And then we will be doing our usual marketing for partners and individuals, organizations with which we collaborate. Today is May the 14th, which means that there are 18 days to go until midnight. And tomorrow, it'll be 17 days to go. So marketing will be around the clock till we welcome these beautiful people to our neighborhood. That's pretty much all that I have. I will peek back in at the end to give a couple of dates, upcoming dates. Other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, so I'm gonna thank you, Daryl. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a link for the Slack group for people to join rather than giving out your cell phone, so that we want people to join our Slack because it's how we communicate directly to our members, and it's also how our committees communicate with each other. So maybe this is a good moment to use that to share the time when the flyers get delivered and can be passed out. So I'm going to just go ahead and create a link while the next person presents, and I'll put that in the chat. And if you are interested in flyering, again, I just want to reiterate on the 25th, I forget what time, someone chime in, on the 25th is our cleanup. So if you're out for that cleanup, which is happening on Linden near the welcome desk in that park, please join us and also flyer down that block or pick up some flyers and hand them out. Or if you have time this weekend, I'm sure the flyers, we can set them up outside on Utah Place in front of one of our homes, and you can just pick a stack, grab it, and, you know, flyer your personal block or leave some at your favorite place that you go, at mom's or a cafe or where you pick up your coffee, and just spread the word, because it's a unique opportunity for people from outside our neighborhood also to come. And we had a lot of folks from, like, I mean, pretty far down south, actually. Some people that were like, oh, I'm from this part of Baltimore, and like, wow, you came all the way here for this event. So we want to keep that going and make sure that people get to see the fabulous architecture in our neighborhood. So I'll keep it moving. Who else is left? Rolando, you want to share a little bit about safety? I know you have an upcoming meeting soon.
Yes, good evening, everyone. The Western District will have the meeting May 21st at 7 p.m. In the Western District had 176 incidents, and they recover they seized nine weapons, but of a total of 10, which included 1 revolver, 7 semi-automatic weapon, 1 shotgun. And in our neighborhood, we had 11 incidents, which was 1 rape, 1 discharge, 1 robbery, 1 residential burglary, 3 aggravated assault, 3 larceny from auto, 1 stolen auto. As they usually says, please, if you have anything in your car, please remove it or have it hidden so no one will break into your car. They're still giving out the wheel lock, and they will be here June 1st and 2nd to give out anyone that want wheel lock for the car will be available during the home and garden tour. That's basically it. We haven't had much incident going on in German Park. I have not heard anything else in any of the other parks in the neighborhood. So it's been very quiet. I've seen a lot of family playing in the park, and there haven't been much of the usual incidents that we've been having in German Park lately. So that's basically what I have to report. Any questions?
I don't think so. I don't have any questions, but could you reiterate what time and date you're meeting?
Will be May 21st.
Okay.
At 7 at the Western District in the lineup room. And they also have it in Zoom.
Okay. No, I mean your safety meeting.
That'll be Monday the 20th. I'll paste the information in the chat. Monday the 20th at 6:30.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Rolando.
You're welcome.
And I think that's everyone. Carson, did you want to share about our thank you to the NYU folks? Do you want to share what?
Oh yeah. So I had an opportunity to stop by today and give them a like custom. That's so excited. Oh, your internet is unstable. Hear me? Sorry about that.
We can hear you now. It was a little unstable. Oh, sorry. And I forgot Arlen. So after you go, Carson, Arlen's up.
Okay. Yeah, so I made a custom Maryland theme gift basket because the law students were so excited to try Old Bay, crabs, and all the Maryland themed, goodies that we have in our community. So That was really nice. We sent handwritten notes, and I hope that they really appreciate it. Plan on sending Professor Deborah Archer some frozen crab cakes because she did not have an opportunity to get some on her trip here. But yeah, I think, we're just so appreciative of all of their hard work and how far they've gotten our community. And I hope that they feel that in what we wrote in our letters. And we really, included the community perspective because, as Keandra mentioned too, they really gave our community a little pep to our step. Like NYU gave us a lot of hope where there's a lot of despair and a lot of people telling us that there was nothing that we could do. And it turns out that there was, and that they broke the law. And so, we'll see them being held accountable in this investigation.
Thank you, Carson. And I'm so sorry, Arlen. Please share. You have, I'm sure, a lot of updates to share with us from PDC.
Hey, no problem. Hope everyone is doing well. Everyone got out and voted. Great. There are a few things that came up, and as you know, with PDC, it's kind of an unrolling thing that's going on. The most recent thing was involving the EV chargers that were scheduled to be placed on Whitelock. One of our neighbors, Mark, what's his name? Mark Berry, reached out to, he's been in contact with the contact, Kristen Masagi, for a while now. And she just informed him that the Whitelock site has been deprioritized. So that site has been taken off the list for an EV station. I'll have to get back in touch with some of the councilman or councilwoman, whoever it's going to be, as in regards to what the next step is. That may be a result of the fact that Reservoir Square is getting charges there. I'm not sure, but that's the update I have on that. Additionally, we had the issue with 830 Brooks Lane, a letter of support. And that matter was just that the owner had inadvertently submitted a downgrading of his zoning, and he wanted to get that rescinded so that it could be a two-unit property. He went out and got the necessary signatures with the help of other neighbors in that area who are also on this call now. I want to thank you for that. And so that was passed. We agreed to support that issue because that wasn't actually there wasn't an actual increase. That was just a clerical error on this part. I reached out to Lauren yesterday regarding the triangle at the top of Utah Place and Druid Park Lake Drive. All the mulch has been there for a while. I think that we really need to get that looking good, just so that extenuates what's going on with the garden tour. I did send a request for volunteers through the Upper Utah Madison Neighborhood Association flyer that I sent out this morning. Regardless, if it's 2 or 3 people, we'll get it knocked out. We'll get that mulch spread and we'll get it looking decent. Let's see. I think that's about it. Oh, there's one other issue that really isn't in our neighborhood, but as Keandra pointed out, the more vocal the neighborhood groups are, the more we realize we're not alone. There was an issue at 2416 Druid Hill Avenue. They want to build this project there called Reed's House, and they haven't reached out to the neighbors. It's going to be in support of the Booker T. Washington School there, but they haven't reached out to the neighbors. If you look at the site right next to it where they wanted to build the property, they actually tore down 2 pretty good looking properties, and there are not many left on Druid Hill Avenue. And I was surprised to see in 2020, those 2 houses, although they were adjoined, they look pretty damn good. And there are other vacant properties next door and around there that could have been developed. What happened after those properties were torn down, the neighbors right adjacent to it took over the property and beautified it. Now they want to tear all that stuff out and build Reed House. I'm not really familiar with Reed House. I'm going to do some investigation into it and reach out to the people that are there. And I'll get back with you on that. And that's about it. Oh, one other thing. I spoke with Melda, at least I emailed, texted Melda. I'm trying to get the the citation site of RHA as far as the 311 reporting up and running. And Melda, I'll be reaching out to you again. If you can walk me through that, we can get that going. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Arlen. And I would, to piggyback just a little bit off of the EV charger conversation, what obviously everyone's super disappointed that it was deprioritized as a location on White Lock. And I think it also highlights the importance of kind of an order of operations within our neighborhood that I think it's been really hard to establish in ways that other communities have been able to make decisions and have things prioritized in their communities in different ways. And I think part of the reason why we have hit a lot of barriers is because the city, from the city's viewpoint, we have like 4 different community organizations that they go to for input. And when they contradict each other, it becomes really confusing for the city, or at least that's how the city views it. And I think this is one example where as a community, if we work together as a singular organization, as the Reservoir Hill Association, while working together with other, the other community, the smaller, block organizations, to figure out a decision, things can run a little bit smoother. And I think another thing that I've noticed is in our community, a lot of us are super active and really capable, right? And so we tend towards making solutions like, oh, I see a problem, I'm going to solve it on my own. I won't tap in, the community organization into that. And sometimes that's great, actually, because things move really quickly. But in other examples like this one, it actually was to our detriment because so much time was spent on individual requests that a neighborhood-wide request never went in. So I'm only saying that to emphasize that even when, we see a great opportunity for the community and we're like, I want to just like make that happen, sometimes it's really great to kind of tap in your neighborhood association and let them know, hey, I noticed that, DOT or the parking authority is, hold on, Kumi. The parking authority is taking requests for EVs. If that opportunity was forwarded to Arlen initially, he probably could have convened a meeting that would allow us to suggest locations and would have expedited that process in a way that an individual resident wouldn't be able to. I'm going to mute myself because obviously this is not very important in comparison to what she had to tell me. So I'm going to mute myself. And Arlen, you can go ahead.
Okay, there was one other issue, and it kind of relates to 830 Brooks Lane. This is on Utah Place. The property at 2428 Utah Place, it has a pending sale on it. I did reach out to the city to get clarification on the status of its zoning. I know that those properties are primely targeted for multiple units. I believe that is a single family unit. It's been vacant for damn near 20 years. So it should be zoned as a single unit. And I know the elections are going on right now, so I expect to hear back from them after the elections. Just want to update you on that.
Arlen, that was, what number did you say that was? 2428?
Yes, 2428.
Okay. And it's up for sale?
Yes, Melda and Rolando pointed out that they sent me a text saying that they notified me that it was pending. I wasn't aware of that until then, so thank you. And okay. That's where we are right now.
Okay. I see Mr. Rolando's hand up.
What I will suggest to everyone is that if you're aware of any of the buildings in our neighborhood, especially those buildings in Utah and Madison that's been vacant, please put in 311 as vacant buildings. So as much vacant notice they have, we run a better chance to maintain those buildings as single family. We have right there on that same block next to 2428, there's 2 other buildings that's been vacant for a while. Come up to the 2300 block, you have at least 2 other buildings on the uneven side. So there's a lot of vacant buildings in our neighborhood that no one is residing in it. So if we put in those requests, we run a better chance in maintaining them as single family or any buildings in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, I missed a big chunk of that discussion, but I'll I'll look back. It was an iPad emergency. Very sorry. So I think, Arlen, you rounded out the last of the reports, right? So I'll just take a quick pause if anyone had any questions or additions to everything that was just presented to you. If there's any before we move on to St. Francis. Okay. Do you all, Lily and Angela, do you all need post permissions to be able to present? Or are you?
If you could give us permission to screen share, that'd be amazing.
Sure. Would you like it, Lily?
Yeah, I'll be the
Okay.
the audio visual today.
Okay. I'll make you the host.
Great, thank you.
Just don't leave the meeting without giving it back, because we've had that happen.
Okay, remind me. Remind me. One second. Is it full screen for everyone right now?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So first off, I just want to express our appreciation for the invitation to present tonight. I feel like I'm sure many of you have kind of been wondering what's going on with St. Francis Neighborhood Center on the corner of Whitelock and Linden. So hopefully this answers some questions and gives you some things to get excited about that are on the horizon for the neighborhood. If you don't already know me, my name is Lily Goldsmith. I'm the Marketing and Communications Coordinator at St. Francis Neighborhood Center. And with that, I will hand it off to my colleague, Ms. Angela Miller, to share some information about what's going on.
Hi, everybody. Yes, as Lily said, I'm Angela Miller. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at St. Francis Neighborhood Center. Again, really appreciate the opportunity to come here and present to you all about what's been going on at St. Francis. We've kind of been in a holding pattern for a few years now, and finally with this sort of expansion and renovation sort of being fully built out, it means that we're going to be ready and rearing to go soon to build out additional programming from what we already offer. For this slide here, you can see a rendering of what the expansion, once it's finished, will look like. This is sort of the Whitelock, the 900 of Whitelock view of the building. So that side view, it's what it'll look like. Next slide, Lily, please. And so this is sort of more of an aerial view of it. You'll see where it says the phase 1 addition. Can everybody hear me okay? Sometimes I have AV issues. You can hear me? Okay. But yeah, so the phase 1 would be sort of the original expansion that we had, where we built out the 3 additional classrooms, the cafe art studio, our residential teaching kitchen, and our computer lab. That first phase also included some initial facelift, or rather fortifying, of the historic building as well. And then now what we're in is the second and final phase that you see happening right now with all the construction. Thank you for dealing with the loudness. But where it's sort of sectioned off with the orange line is sort of the final build out that's happening alongside a final renovation of the historic building as well. But next slide, please, Lily. This is a floor plan of the first floor. The area to the back here where it says multi-purpose room, office, storage, and pre-function space, that's currently what's being built right now. In a few slides, you'll see sort of a rendering of what we anticipate that multi-purpose event space will look like. But it's anticipated, originally they were projecting that that space would fit somewhere around 150 people. But after they did the final surveying of the land, they actually had to shrink that space a little bit. So I don't want to be caught in a lie and say it's going to be able to fit 150 people. I would say more so based upon what I'm seeing, it's probably going to be 75 to 100 people. But again, once they actually put the walls up and we can actually see the space, we'll be able to say more firmly what that space capacity will be. But that's open floor plan. It'll be 2 stories high. And we'll have, oh, somebody say something? No? Okay. Open floor plan, 2 stories high, and it will have the ability to be broken down into smaller rooms as well. And then we'll also have that pre-function space, and all of these spaces that you see when we don't have the programming that we're currently hosting or the programming we're going to be expanding into, that folks can either rent or reserve to host their own meetings or programming that they would like to do as well. Next slide, please. And then this is just showing you from the second floor area here where there will be 2 final classrooms that are added to the newer space. And then of course, there'll be renovation of our office space and meeting rooms that we have available in the historic building. The really exciting thing about this expansion is that it will enable us to hopefully eventually be able to run concurrent programming. Because right now when we have, as most of you may know, one of the largest regularly operating programs that we have is our out of school, after school and summer programming, which is free for K through 8th grade youth. And then we also have a paid high school internship program that runs alongside that. Currently with the space that we have, when we have those, 80 to 95 students that we currently have capacity for in the building, and all of us that it takes to sort of run that, all of our space is being taken. But with the expansion, the hope is that we will be able to run broader community programming for adults and older folks in the neighborhood in sort of the historic space, while the educational for the youth programming is happening in the sort of like newer building classrooms. Next slide, please. And then this is sort of a rendering of what the that multi-purpose room that we're talking about that will be available for folks to sort of utilize as they need to in the community. And you'll see there, as I mentioned before, it'll have sort of a divider to break it up so that we can have more than one thing going on there if we need to. Next slide, please. And then this is just a visual of that timeline. So obviously November of 2023, we broke ground for that final phase. Early of this year, we got all the final permits and everything that we needed to complete the build out. Our entrance switched from the Whitelock side back to the Linden side where it was historically. But once the build out is finished, our main entrance will transition back to the Whitelock side entrance of the building. And then we anticipate that by January of next year, our expansion will be completed. And so mid-spring to late spring of next year is when we are anticipating that we would be able to have our grand reopening, where we would invite everyone into the space to see it fully expanded and to sort of enjoy it and have a good time. Before Lily starts talking about something else, does anyone have any questions about that? Okay. Cool. Oh, one last thing that I'll say. We are going to be asking for community input on like what additional programs we can bring into the space. But from our recent community needs assessment survey and just conversations that we've been having with those that we directly serve, one of the main programs that we're focusing into expanding to, at least by early next year, once the expansion is done, is adult literacy services, and then also workforce development opportunities. Those we've kind of heard feedback that those are the highest need that people are looking for, but then we'll also be looking to collect feedback from everyone about how else they would like us to utilize the space. And with that, I will throw it to Lily.
So in that context of our sort of expanded capacity that's on the horizon is also the expanded capacity for additional programming and other initiatives. And one of the most exciting new and kind of upcoming and still in the early stages, but very exciting to share about, is the Community Data Hub, which is within the Black Beyond Data ecosystem, which is a Mellon Foundation funded project that we're working with a number of different partners on. Before I get too far into it, the Community Data Hub has been spearheaded by our amazing Community Data Fellow, Sky Moore, who some of you may have already had the pleasure of meeting at various other community organization meetings. Oh, Rolando, if you want to ask a question before I get into this, please feel free.
I'll leave my question for last. Go ahead.
Okay. So unfortunately, Sky could not join us tonight as originally intended because she's graduating with her Master's of Public Health from Morgan State University this week. So she's obviously very busy. But I will be sharing some things on her behalf as she created this presentation for us. Oops. So as I mentioned, the Community Data Hub project falls within the Black Beyond Data ecosystem, which is a Mellon Foundation funded initiative that expands from scholars at Johns Hopkins University to Brown University to community-based organizations like St. Francis Neighborhood Center. One way that you might already be familiar with the Black Beyond Data ecosystem is through our monthly reading groups, which St. Francis Neighborhood Center hosts on behalf of the larger ecosystem. They're free monthly meetings via Zoom on the last Friday of every month, and we have different scholars who share some of their research and open things up for discussion surrounding the topics of community-based data analytics. So really interesting stuff and a really awesome opportunity to hear from scholars across the country. So just to jump into, so this is a description directly from Sky that sort of introduces the Community Data Hub. The Community Data Hub, part of the Community Data Project at St. Francis Neighborhood Center, represents the culmination of 3 years of work through the Black Beyond Data Project at Johns Hopkins University. Led by Sky and a team of data stewards, this groundbreaking initiative is the first of its kind in Reservoir Hill and Penn North, aimed at gathering untold community truths, data, and historical artifacts to ignite social discourse and collaborative problem solving for the 21217 area. It's a community-driven effort tailored to spark dialogue and address local needs. So these are a few of the community data stewards who are from throughout the 21217 zip code who helped and have been instrumental in getting the beginning phases of this project off the ground. So the Community Data Hub, Sky has been working tirelessly to get it off the ground. She's been working in creating a website through Omeka, which is a free, flexible, and open source web publishing platform for the display of library, museum, archives, and scholarly collections and exhibitions. And she's been uploading content that will form the basis of this data hub. And that content kind of falls under 3 different categories. The first being archival data. So she has been, we're lucky at St. Francis Neighborhood Center to have a very vast collection of, we call them our archives, but it's a collection of newspaper clippings, photographs, written testimonials, and other physical artifacts that not only tell the story of St. Francis Neighborhood Center, but also sort of the Reservoir Hill neighborhood and broader area as a whole from the 1960s onwards. So she has been digitizing all of these items along with the community data stewards, and those will be uploaded to this website for community members to view. Another form of content that will be included is the recordings and transcriptions of the focus groups and community conversations that Sky led throughout the 212 and 7. And these are a few of the topics. I don't need to list all of them, but they're here. So all of this information from those conversations will be uploaded, and people can navigate through it and explore at their leisure. And then the third kind of content that will be uploaded is the data analysis from our St. Francis Neighborhood Center Community Needs Survey, which was administered by St. Francis staff and the community data stewards from 2022 into 2023. That also should help aid in ultimately the goal of the community data hub is to provide a more holistic picture of what life truly is like in the Reservoir Hill and Penn North area. So, bigger than just statistics, but, researchers are, rather than outside researchers speaking on behalf of our neighborhood, it's supposed to be an opportunity for neighbors to truly be the authors of their own story and our own story, so including their voice. So with that, and I'll hand it over to Angela in just a second to talk a little bit more about what this looks like, but we're still in the beginning phases of coming up with a framework for this. But the ultimate goal is for not only community members to be able to go onto this website and navigate through it and engage with the collections, but to actually be able to submit content of their own. So, when you think about, the Reservoir Hill Home and Garden Tour, submitting those materials so that decades down the line, people can still look back on that, and depending on, it's basically up for neighbors to decide, what is important and what should people know about Reservoir Hill. And with that, I'll hand it off to Angela.
Yeah, and so to that point, that Lily was just sort of mentioning about how this is meant to be something that is owned for, by, and with sort of like the community. Right now, since the grant is now sundowning, at least with our involvement of it as far as the funding aspect of it, we are currently figuring out what our funding for the position of the person who will help build out what programs can be stood up around this sort of pioneering hub that Lily has sort of just described. Something I do just kind of want to name is that since this concept is fairly new and is one of the first of its kind, there will be sort of community-based working groups sort of that will be stood up once again we figure out that sort of sustainable funding for it. For stakeholders, including community organizations like RHA, if they are interested in being involved, and other sort of residents, to build out the playbook of who will have access to the narratives and the data collected there, as well as to continue some of the focus groups that you'll be able to look at and see the conversations that happened through this project. And so introducing this community data hub, again, as the first of its kind, community input will shape its evolution. We just have to figure out our funding for that, so that we can then, again, stand up those working groups for people to sort of engage with this space and sort of let us know like what they want it to look like for as like a living, breathing thing. I see a question.
Yes, thank you so much. And I do want to just say congratulations, because I understand that you all have received another grant from Mackenzie Scott for $2 million, I understand. And I'm just wondering, for this project specifically, do you already have data archives that you're able to share with the community? I would love to see any like old photos of North Avenue. If I can provide my email address, if you want to send a Dropbox, whatever is the easiest way, I would love to see some of what you already have available. Is that possible?
I can definitely put you in contact with Sky, who is our community data fellow and has been pioneering this project. I can say that the data hub is not yet fully online. She's been working against a couple of like technical glitches in getting the website built out the way that we want it to be before we go public with it. But I can put you in contact with her to see if there's other things outside of that that she can share with you. It's really cool.
Do you advise that I put my, I would love to see that. That's great. Do you advise I put my email address in the chat, and then you can kind of take it from there?
Absolutely. That's perfect. Thank you.
And then my other question is, just because RHA hosts a lot of community events, and sometimes we do it in print, I'm just wondering, and sorry if I missed this, Is there going to be a fee for community organs to host at the center?
To host at the center, like our physical space, or through the community data virtual hub?
At the physical space.
Yeah, so Wayne, our operations director, is currently finalizing what that sort of like rental versus reservation protocol would be. Historically, sort of like what I've done with it and how I've handled it is that if you are a community organization that is offering something free of service and it's happening during our regular operating hours, then it's a reservation, because our space is your space. We can't be a neighborhood center if we don't kind of operate by that creed. But I don't, and occasionally there might be small sliding scale sort of fees associated with literally just to keep the lights on, or if we have to have a security person or something like there. But again, that'll be sliding scale, and it'll be based upon the rental protocols that he finalizes. And we're always willing to work with folks on that.
Very generous. Thank you so much. That's it for me for now.
Perfect. Before I sort of move on to our final section, any other questions about the community data hub specifically, or?
I'll wait until you finish your presentation because I want you to go back to your floor plan.
Okay, cool. Okay, Lily, next slide, please. Okay, so again, since we're sort of in this expansion sort of place, this is allowing us to really sort of diversify sort of like what we're looking at, and we're kind of at a cusp of a lot of different really exciting opportunities that are going to involve a lot of community input around what it looks like. And we're also currently doing internally, and we'll, as soon as we figure the internal portion of that, have some strategic planning with the broader community about these sort of initiatives. But one of them is that sort of St. Francis, at least since I've gotten here, and for a long time, has had a goal of becoming one of the first community-based smart centers. And so still very much so in the early stages of this. So I don't want to say too much and sort of be caught in a lie, because that's not our intention. But at its core, sort of the idea of a community-based smart center is that it serves as a centralized hub equipped with advanced technologies and digital infrastructure to enhance various aspects of community life. The purpose of establishing this community smart center is to leverage technology to improve the efficiency, communication, sustainability, and overall well-being of that community. Next slide, please. And we're working with Rowdy Orbit Inc. On this to help sort of build out the actual technology infrastructure to be able to support that type of programming and those types of initiatives. And so at the start of it, currently right now, obviously we have our computer lab available for our youth program, and it is open to the public on Wednesday mornings. We're exploring the opportunity of allowing telehealth services to sort of exist in this space as well. We have to figure out HIPAA, sort of what that looks like. And then also we're looking to put 2 Wi-Fi extenders on our roof to provide free public connectivity to the White Lodge Street from the bus stop at the corner of Linden Avenue and along the length of the building. And our hope is that will also be able to sort of reach German Park, and then also the White Lot Community Farm and the RHIC event lot that is across the street from us that is currently being renovated. So as we are very much so in the beginning of where the goals of SFNC as a COB community-based smart center, there will be opportunities to be involved in focus groups, working groups, and town halls to ensure that the community members and community org stakeholders will direct that conversation about what building this type of center, or building out this type of center in the 21217 will look like for the next 3 to 5 years strategically. So once we are at the point of standing up those groups and committees, we'll be sending out interest forms to all of you organizations like RHA, and RHIC, Betham, and then other residents in the area to sort of join those. And in addition to enhancing the smart technologies we have on site and free public access Wi-Fi, just to sort of give you an idea of what this can look like. Like I mentioned, it can look like increasing healthcare access services through those smart technologies, sourcing grant funding to be able to make green smart technologies available, not only in our own brick and mortar, but also potentially for community members in their home at low cost or free of cost to sort of increase their green efficiency in their home as they see fit, and hopefully save some money there. And then that's, I think, the next slide. Yep. So if we want to go back there, does anyone have any questions about that? Cool. And then next slide, please. So just some of our upcoming events. We've kind of been in a sort of standing sort of hold recently because, you know, as you mentioned, we're very excited. We were just recently awarded the Mackenzie Scott grant, which has really been able to sort of propel us forward. But right before that, we were actually kind of at a place of financial insecurity, just to be a little transparent. So we had to put a lot of these initiatives on hold. But now with that funding, we're able to sort of like move it forward. And so with that, these are some of the current upcoming events that we have. We of course, have our weekly food distributions every Wednesday. Currently, they're happening in front of the Linden entrance to German Park because of our renovations instead of our front lawn. Every Tuesday, which the next slide will be a calendar of the upcoming events for that. We have our senior socials from 9 to 12. On Thursdays, we have meditation classes with Peter Van Buren from 10 to 11. We are currently planning a June community stoop night with Dorothy I. Heights Elementary School. I'm actually meeting with Isabel about that tomorrow to sort of finalize some of those details so we can share that date out and that flyer to everyone. It will operate pretty similarly to how they have in the past when we've done the stoop nights: free music, free food, space for people to just come and hang out. We're hoping to do this one on June 19th or June 20th as sort of a mini Juneteenth celebration for the community. I just need to finalize that date with them tomorrow. And then ResFest is still happening, even though normally I know we would have already sent out information for this. We've kind of been in a bit of a fight with the special events office at the city about what date in August we're able to do it, because usually we do it the first Saturday in August, but since that's when Artscape is this year, we're having to push it back. So I'm actually going down to the special events office this week to try to finalize a date, and then we'll be sharing that out. So we're looking closer to mid to late August and potentially a Sunday, if not a Saturday, that'll be happening. And then this is the schedule that I mentioned for the senior socials. You'll see that we have planned in May. So today, you know, there was crochet with Pam and exercise and Bible study. Next week, the seniors decided that they wanted to go to Savers. So we are taking them to Savers and out to breakfast. And then Tuesday, the 28th is our end of the year celebration with a jazz trio that will be performing during the breakfast. And then on Thursdays is typically when we do either our field trips. So this past Thursday, the group of seniors that regularly come to our program went to the Black Wax Museum downtown. And then our community meditation classes are open to everyone. It's just that right now, currently, most of the regularly participating members of the community are the seniors from our Tuesday senior socials, but anyone is able to come to those. And then last slide, I believe. We just really want to thank you for allowing us to sort of come here and present on this. Sky's email is listed there. My email is listed there. And of course, Lily's is listed there. Now, what are the questions?
Rolando, if you want to ask your question, let me know if I
Yes.
can move to the second floor plan.
Let's go back to the first floor. Is that the first floor?
Yeah, this one's the first floor.
Okay. Unfortunately, no one have asked or asked any question, but you're expanding, and I'm looking at your floor plan, and I see no location for your garbage and recycle. And on top of that, you're expanding, and are y'all planning to have someone to coordinate the parking issue? Because at times I've noticed individual actually go in the wrong direction on Linden, make a U-turn. There's been cars double park, and no, Linden, I mean, White Lock is a lane where we have buses coming through, and sometimes the buses have to get right, cross over to the other lane. But there is no, based on your drawing, and this may be above your pay grade, I don't see no location for your recycling and garbage.
So
what's the plan?
So that's definitely a question that I can ask Mr. Wayne, our operations director. That would be, so right now it would still be where it currently is. At least my understanding would be off the side of the building, kind of where right now where it says media room, that sort of like outside space is where that would be. To your point, I know that Wayne has been having conversations with sort of the construction crew about what sort of fortifying that space a little bit more for that stuff, because if we have more services going on, obviously our trash output and recycling output is going to increase. I can ask him about what the plan is and then get back to you guys about that, because I don't want to say any mistruths, but that would be Wayne that can.
But at this stage, with all the expansion, I personally think that you need to get commercial sanitation. And there's no, based on your design, that was apparently never considered your process of your garbage collection at all. Because now you're depending more, you're increasing your volume, and you're depending more on city service, and we're already the GISM is extremely working long hours to collect our garbage.
Yeah, sure. So I don't want to say that I don't know. I would imagine that what you're talking about was considered, but I wasn't involved in those sort of like ideative and original conversations, because that was kind of pre my time, since the expansion had already started. So again, just let me go back to Wayne and Torben, ask them what the plan is for that, and then we can sort of come back and send that your way to let you know what that is, because I don't want to, again, misspeak or say that the plan is this and then that not be the case. But thank you for that question. I think that's very important. I agree.
And then to the point about cars and volume during, I'm guessing that you're referring to during dismissal. That's definitely something that we can also reiterate with parents and guardians about, like, you know, being considerate and, you know, obviously don't go down the street the wrong way, because we want to be good neighbors. So that's also something that we can have conversations with them about too, because I apologize for any inconvenience caused by that. That's certainly a nuisance.
Yeah, I certainly haven't witnessed that. So like, thank you for saying that. And we'll definitely talk to Anika, our family and community advocate, to make sure that we reinforce with folks that during dismissal, they need to obey traffic patterns for safety and to be good neighbors. Any other questions? Or did that, I guess, to the best of our ability, I think we answered your question, Rolando, and we'll circle back.
I see Daryl's hand up. Daryl.
Do you still have Narcotics Anonymous meetings on Saturday?
Yes. Yes, those are run by Coach. Oh, you're right. We should have added that to there. Yeah, they're on Saturdays from 3 to 4:30. Coach Rodell still runs those. And he does also still run his male positive breakfast on Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 for the young male youth in the community. But that's all run by Coach Rodell. But I can certainly get you in contact with him if you want to about that.
Yeah, it would be great, because we tried to add all of your events to our community calendar. And I think there's a couple that we don't have yet, or maybe they were just started, and you know, but we would love to be able to add all of those so people can tap into that if they, you know.
I can send you the flyers for those that have that information, the date and the time and all that. And then on those we'll include Coach's email if there are any further questions about it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
I see Angeri
Angerica.
Angerica.
I need to separate my name. Yes, I just had a quick question about the multipurpose room. Will that room be rented out to, will it be open to the public, and will there be a fee for renting out that room? Have y'all talked about that?
Yes, so that will be something that be available for both either rental or reservation, depending upon what the programming is or the service that's being provided by who would like to rent or reserve it. Wayne is currently in the process of finalizing our sliding scale rental versus reservation sort of protocols. Once that's available, we'll share it with people. Something that I do know is that it's always going to be a conversation. If the sort of sliding scale is too expensive with someone, we're always willing to sort of like work with them to be able to sort of like utilize the space for their services, because that's why it's here. It's here for folks to use it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Daryl's hand go up and down, but I'm not sure.
I was just going to say that we do have calendared the weekly events for St. Francis on our community calendar. The senior socials on Tuesday, the grocery distributions on Wednesday, along with the computer lab, Gen meditation on Thursdays, and I do have NA meetings on Saturday.
Oh, great.
All on the calendar.
Perfect. So I guess I'll just send over then I'll still send the flyers just in case it's helpful. But the change program with Coach Riddell on Saturday mornings, I'll send that over too. Thank you for doing that. That's really awesome that you guys are sort of sharing those out. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of your community calendar.
Awesome. And it helps us to be more aware, like when we're planning events, to not try to plan on top of, other big events that are planned. So if you have a big festival or anything coming up, let us know and we'll save that date and hold it on the calendar. And I think it's helpful for other organizations. We're hoping everyone will use it and know that that's a go-to place to see what's going on in the neighborhood. I was curious, with your meetings, those meetings that you were having, the community conversations, if there is a way for us to get hear back some of the information that you collected, like your data or how you were summarizing those conversations, because it might be helpful in our visioning, in our charrettes that we'll be doing for the neighborhood vision plan. And so as you all were presenting, that was kind of the thing that kept popping up in my head, was how can we work a little bit closer together, or make the efforts that we're doing work together. For example, Carson's, I think a light bulb went off seeing, one of those images of Brookfield. I think there was a gentleman standing in front of a commercial property, and I was like, whoa, there's been major shifts in our neighborhood to the point where there used to be maybe corner stores in places that they've been removed. And of course, we're always thinking about North Avenue because we have so many developers redeveloping North Avenue. And so often they pull strange images of what North Avenue was, where we're like, we know that's not what it used to look like, but we were actually going through the process and thinking through reaching out to our neighbors and our elders to collect some of those oral histories and images of our community, because really, as people are aging and passing, honestly, we're losing a lot of what I think of as almost like the middle history of our neighborhood, from the moment from the 1970s onward, when the community became a predominantly Black neighborhood. A lot of that history is erased. Like, I feel like there's a lot of memory of kind of the pre-war neighborhood, or the early colonial part of like what the neighborhood was like. But the more recent history, from the assassination to Martin Luther King to, when, you know, maybe the 80s or the 90s gets a little lost. So that, to me, I'm really hoping that RHA can support that work of documentation and archiving. And so if you all are have funding for and are putting the energy towards truly creating a community archive that is accessible to the community and for the community, that's certainly something that we would be interested in supporting, because it's necessary, it's needed, and it's urgent. And those kind of images and really seeing the neighborhood in different terms. And, you know, oftentimes I was told about what the neighborhood was in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s is very different than the people who lived here, how they remember it, and what the type of resources and opportunities there were in the neighborhood kind of gets glossed over oftentimes when it's being retold. So I'll just say personally, I've very much enjoyed participating in the Black Beyond Data reading group. It's an incredible opportunity. So I really, you know, I think there's one more session left this year. If you can check that out, it's like Kim Gallen is she doing the last one?
Yep.
Just one of the most like brilliant thinkers in African American culture right now. So it's an amazing opportunity to hear her speak. But also they held a conference this past spring that I was able to attend, which was incredible. Just really thinking about who owns Black data and thinking of data as not only numbers, like you all were saying, but of our actual memory and our histories, and how do we want to remember them, and how do we want to archive it. So it's incredible work going on. I just, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, how can we, I think of a lot of the work that you all are doing. RHA is, you know, in some ways activating that information. So activating the archive in the way that we're saying, hey, if this is what North Avenue used to look like, and you're telling me it was always this like, there was nothing there or was never of any value, how do we push against that narrative that we are building something from nothing, where our memories are telling us that there was always something here of value? We all moved here because we felt like there was something of value. So how do we, you know, really push that concept is the reason why we're here, you know, as an organization. So just saying awesome work, but also how can we, you know, use the work that you're doing in a way that feels like we're activating it as a community and really being able to utilize it. So yeah, that's my only thoughts. And thank you for presenting. I learned a lot in your presentation, so thank you. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And so thank you for that, Keandra. That's really awesome. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. So as far as the community conversations, when the hub completely goes live and is accessible, all of those will sort of be on there, as will the archives that we've already built. Part of what we're currently figuring out is again, funding for the person who would be sort of building out spaces for the conversations that you're talking about. So really make sure that this is going to be something, and that's when working groups and additional focus groups and programming around the hub specifically through the lens that you're talking about will be fully stood up. We should have more information about that within the next month because the grant funding is sort of sundowning in June. And so we're just sort of, we're planning with the Black Beyond Data sort of stakeholders in group about what our continued collaboration with them looks like outside of it strictly being funding. So because we will confirm, but they are interested in still having the Black Beyond Data reading groups hosted sort of like through the vessel and the environment that we already have, just because it has been so amazing and it has had so much engagement. So they really don't want to lose that. So we're just figuring out, again, just sort of where we're at with that. And then we'll have more information about how people can engage with it all more.
All right, I know it's getting close to 8:30. I am so glad it worked out this way tonight. I mean, I don't want anyone to feel unwell. I don't mean it that way, but I'm glad that you all were able to do the full presentation and walk us through all of that. That was extremely helpful. I think, yeah, that's it for St. Francis. I think we'll transition to closing out the meeting because it's getting pretty late. I'm gonna take back Lily, the host
I think
privileges.
I
You
think I
already
made
did
you
it.
host.
You already did it. You can tell I have PTSD from it happening to me where the whole meet I was like, dang, the meeting's over. Okay. Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. I know that we shared a lot of information in the chat. Oh, Daryl, yes.
UWMNA is not meeting tomorrow. So it will meet in June and be a part of the cleanup. This weekend is the community spring fling at Dorothy I. Height from 11 to 3. It is parents and students, kind of a field day type deal. I think that's the only one that I felt needed to be highlighted. There is the Black Beyond Data final meeting is on the 30th. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone saw all the links that were shared in the chat, which include how to sign up and volunteer for the Garden and Home Tour. You'll see that around the 7:26 time period. Reminder that on the 25th, there's an 8:30 a.m. cleanup on Linden and Ducatel. That's not next Saturday, but the Saturday after. I will also point out that we have the link so that you can join Slack. So if you haven't already joined our Slack account, there is a join link there. Everyone is welcome to join that. It's just an easy way to communicate with one another around specific topics. If there is not a chat that maybe you're like, hey, I want a chat for giveaways or something like that. Like I want to get rid of stuff in my house and I just want a chat for that. I don't know why that came up in my head. We can add things. It's for us. It's for the community. We just thought there was a need for some way for us to communicate quickly when there's like giveaways and other things that we wanted to announce. The safety and security meeting is on Monday, May 20th at 6:30. The link is also in the chat. And finally, okay, sorry. Angelica, I don't know which link you need, but just let us know and we'll send it to you. I also want to finally give you all something that I've been meaning to share out for a long time and I didn't. And it's just a quick form about recreation in the community. I met with the Parks and Rec folks a while ago. They seem to not understand that we are interested in recreational activities and utilizing Druid Park. And they also are planning a new recreation center that we're supposed to share with other communities, but we were never part of any of the conversations about planning that rec center. So I am hoping that we can basically put together as much information about what kind of recreation the community actually wants. So I wanted to say that while St. Francis was on the line, as you guys are thinking about what the community needs are, one thing I noticed just as a parent, so this is partially selfish, but a lot of parents go really far away to do recreation. They join soccer groups or swim teams or all sorts of things way outside of the community, which to me is very strange because we have all those resources right here. And so one thing that I have not put nearly enough energy into, but I would love to see through is bringing more accessible recreation that's in walking distance back to the community, since our community center was eliminated from Dorothy I. Height Elementary School. And for me, it's an issue of equity, because when we don't have recreational activities in Druid Park, that means everyone has to travel to be able to join a team and or participate in sports. And this seems to be a thing that Dorothy I. Height is also interested in. So I just wanted to share that with you as you guys are doing these conversations and thinking through resources for the community. That feels like a need that might, as you know, could be met through joint participation between you, Dorothy Height, Parks and Rec, and us, and figuring out maybe a couple teams. It doesn't even have to be crazy, like a soccer shots team, where we can help fund it so people can join for free and do that kind of recreation in the community after school. So just putting that out there, if you, you know, would love activities in the park, whether that be like a, you know, aqua aerobics, or, you know, hey, I always wanted to learn to swim and I wish I could just go to Druid Park and get a swim lesson. Those types of things. I think we just need more data to argue for investment in those types of activities in Druid Hill Park in particular. But yes, that is it. And sorry for my rant, but if you want to share that link with anyone, please feel free, so we can try to advocate for more rec in our park. But that's it, and hope to see you at the cleanup on the 25th. Hope you guys buy tickets to the garden and home tour, and that we see you on June 1st and June 2nd. Carson, did you need to say anything? You're just joyous.
Oh, no, sorry. I'm just looking at the election.
Uh-oh, okay.
Good, yeah.
Okay, so we gotta get offline to see all the results. Good luck. Hopefully the person you voted for got it. Have a good night. Meeting is adjourned. Bye-bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
Okay.